Yes, I want more.
Yes, I will step forward even if no one's done it before.
It doesn't start with applause.
It starts with doubt.
With fear.
With a question that won't leave you alone.
Can I do this?
Should I speak?
Will I fail?
And then,
Sometimes quietly, sometimes like a scream.
it comes.
The spark.
Gary, I don't recognize Lucy. She was in the red hair, yeah. Oh, in the red hair. Well, no wonder I'm over.
She's Elizabeth.
I know, I saw that.
See it. Now I know you think it's madness. That a machine can do more than crunch numbers, but I swear to you, this analytical machine that Mr. Babbage has designed, well, he only sees a calculator, a clever abacus. But I see music, color, and language translated into patterns. It's like poetry. My father, the great Lord Byron, the poet, the storm. They called him mad, brilliant, untamable. Well, he took one look at me when I was born. A daughter. And he left. Divorced my mother and disappeared into myth. He wanted a son. Not a girl, not me. My mother, she tried to scrub the Byron out of me, refused that a single line of his poetry in the house. She said, emotion is the enemy. Let mathematics steady you. She called it my treatment, my cure. As if the numbers could tame the storm I inherited. But what she never understood, what neither of them understood, is that poetry and math are the same. Both a language, both chase beauty and precision, both ask the impossible question. What is the truth? And the truth is, I see it, a machine that can write poetry, store it, carry it. One day. Not now, no, but one day. People will walk around with these machines in their pockets. They'll speak to them in peace machines. They'll reply. They'll argue with them. Imagine with them. They'll fall in love through them. And yes, there will be danger. Every new power comes with shadow. But we can shape this. Give it something beautiful to carry forward. I know they laugh at me. Say that I'm an unserious woman. Writing fanciful delusions. All in the margins of a man's machine. But I keep writing. Because I believe this is the beginning of something vast. And Lovelace. And I will say, who's laughing now?
Dearest Cass, I've been thinking about my wedding far more than I should admit. Very clearly, very soberly. Mrs. Harris Bigwither. Can you even say it without wincing? He proposed, and I said yes. A Brussels lace gown of a white satin, an organdy veil, cornflowers and lilacs. You'd be there by my side, of course. Mother glowing, father proud. We'd have roast mallard, fritters, and cake. We'd string garlands from the rafters and hang them ourselves, just as we did when we were girls, remember? And then what? What happens next? I moved to many down estates. I write. In secret. If at all. He doesn't know about the novels, Cassandra. Not about the writing. Not about Emma, or Elizabeth, or Marianne, waiting in the margins. What happens when he does? It would be a strange thing to have my books amputated from their authorship. What if he reads them? What if he reads them and sees nothing? No wit? What if he reads them and sees me? Sees too much? Sees the grandeur and design of the feminine world? What if he doesn't want me to be known? Not proper for a wife. The wife. Such a beautiful word that now seems poison-tipped. I hadn't given much thought to it before now, but now the after is all I see. My books abandoned. My ambition folded and put away with the bridal veil. My entire world of wanderings and creation left behind for a plain young man. I must tell him no. Better, far better, to mourn a wedding than to mourn a life. Love, if she's to come, she'll find me writing on the wings of my words, not perched in a parlor, reading over roast duck. Harris Bigwither will recover. My books, my novels will endure. Let Elizabeth Bennet wear my wedding dress. I'll wear the ink stains of my stories.
because I needed to hear it, to believe it. When I was small, my mama wouldn't let us ride the roller coasters at the county fair. So naturally, I made one in the backyard for me and my sister. Damn near killed us. And then in the wintertime, we'd go sledding every chance we got. Well, that was, of course, until Mr. Smith's wagon started crushing me. Now, it wasn't Mr. Smith's fault, you see. We knew folks took their horses by that hill. But it was the only hill where we could get any real speed. I was halfway down, flying head first when I saw it. Clydesdale. Massive. I saw its hooves. I saw the space in between them, and I thought, I can make it. And I did. And that moment, where my whole life hung in the balance, that single split second, taught me everything I know about flying. I've been thinking a lot about that. You remember the air derby at 29? Santa Monica to Cleveland? Of course you do. They told us to bring men like chaperones. But there was nothing like it. All women. All engines roaring. All competitors. But we were sisters in the air. And then Marvel crashed over Arizona, and we cried. God, we cried. Some of the folks, the men, they wanted us to call off the whole race, but we said flying was how we honored her, and we stood firm, and we flew. I remember the Rockies came up out of nowhere, like God himself had placed them there, like the earth needed a little embellishment. I saw those peaks. I looked at my plane, and I thought, I can make it. I believe all of us women are made of something different, something strong. I believe that. I do. And that's why I told the ladies of the 99s, you're made of something different. Better, maybe. And sometimes we just need somebody to stand up and say it aloud, to remind us. You see, when life hands you an adventure, you don't refuse it. And life is an adventure. It's terrifying, tragic sometimes, but also beautiful. I remember I told my sister, I want to see the whole world someday. And this moment right here, this is my chance. So I'm asking you one more time. Do you think I can make it?
Do I regret going too far? You ask that like it's a question about decency, about propriety. Do I look like a woman who has ever worried about being proper? It's been 30 years, and I still wake up in cold sweats thinking I'm back in that asylum. Maybe it's the fever I have now, but I can still smell it. The antiseptic, the urine, the rot in the walls. And the women, oh, the women, writhing, ragged, eyes sunken, wrists bound in leather like animals. You call it going too far? I call it doing what men wouldn't. Women in Blackwell's weren't lunatics. They were grief-stricken, depressed, divorced, inconvenient, dragged away by brothers and husbands, filed away like bad ideas. And all I had to do to join them was refuse to sleep. One sleepless night, a few mad mutterings and polite society signed my admission papers. That's all it took. You think I went too far? I didn't go far enough. I wanted to stay longer. I wanted to see how deep it went. How many women they could crush behind those locked doors. You don't forget that place. The thick air, no ventilation, no food, too much medicine. And when the women started to drool and fade, they blamed them. They didn't treat madness, they manufactured it. They called me a stunt girl, not an investigative reporter, not a detective, just a girl pulling stunts to get attention. Is that what you think I was after? Attention? Here's what I was after. Truth. Change. Freedom. For the women left behind when I got out. Because I got out. They called me brave. But I was lucky. I had an editor who believed in me. A name people recognized. A platform to speak from. Most women don't get that. You want to talk about going too far? Try circumnavigating the globe as a single woman in the 1800s. Try outrunning deadlines, seasickness, and skepticism. Try walking back into rooms full of men who want to shut the door on you again. I did all of it, and I'd do it again. Not for the fame, not for the byline, for the women still inside, still invisible, still screaming, still unheard. You don't get to ask me if I regret it. You get to ask me how to do it next. Then I'll tell you. But only if you're willing to go even further than I did. Because that's the job of a reporter.
I thought we'd have more time. Just one more morning with him. One more glance through the underbrush. He was the first to trust me, you know. David Greybeard. They said I was too soft by giving you a name instead of a number. That it made me sentimental, unscientific. But you had a name long before I did. I saw it in the way you peeled fruit for a younger male. In the way you looked at me. Really looked. They told me to observe, to record, to stay at a distance. But I sat and watched and named David, Flo, Fifi, Goliath. Because I knew you were not specimens. You're individuals with joy, with grief, with memory. Today I watched them grieve him, his brother pacing, Flo silent and still. I don't know how to write that in a field notebook. I don't know how to tell the world what I see without breaking. You'd be proud, Jubilee. The little chimp that started it all. When Father gave you to me instead of a teddy bear, Mother's friends were horrified. Chimpanzees, they'll give her nightmares. They didn't. They gave me a calling. And now, David is gone. the first to welcome me, the one who reached out his hand and said, "You belong." This was never about degrees or lectures. It was always this silence, waiting, rustling of leaves, the moment the wild world lets you in. So I'll keep going, I'll keep naming, watching, waiting. Because the only thing scarier than taking a risk is not taking one. Rest easy, David. I'll keep my promise, and I'll tell the world over, when we fail the wild, we fail ourselves.
I've been thinking about something. A question, really. What if Shakespeare had a sister? What if her name was Joan? What if she had the same wit, the same genius, the same gift for rhythm and revenge? But Joan would never be taught to read. She had no books, no room. She went mad eventually, buried in an unmarked grave. History calls her a what if. There are so many Joans, women unfairly silenced through the centuries. Nan Mozart, Anne Finch, women whose names never even made it to the margins. History is cruel to women. My brothers went to Cambridge, and I, as a girl, had to make do with father's library. See, they learned to debate. I learned to listen through the walls. For I was born into their society, a patriarchy. And from what I can see, not much has changed. I could be bitter. Some days I am. But mostly, rather than complain about it, I decided to do something. We bought a press, right there in the dining room, between the tea and the cat. We published our own words, and Freud's. Catherine Mansfield, E.M. Foster, T.S. Eliot. We didn't wait for permission. And so I challenge you, every person in this room, with a pulse and a voice and something to say. Live an unapologetic life, an authentic life. Loud if need be, unruly, so that from this moment on, we and the women that we write are no longer confined to society's limited expectations. I'm a woman with no filter and widely unpopular opinions because they're from the brain of a woman. And I'll let you in on a little secret. For most of history, Anonymous was a woman. And let me ask you, of all the things that the so-called moral majority now deem inappropriate, with book bans, outlawed words, locked libraries, do you honestly believe that you can silence a thinking mind? Bolt the doors, board up the shelves. The problem is there's no gate, no lock, no bolt you can set on the freedom of a woman's mind. Women weren't lacking in history because they didn't have talent or brilliance. They weren't included because silence was enforced. Speech was punished. And no one listened if they dared to speak. And so I dare you. Don't be a what if.
they can be offended by. Also, I would love to see the look on their faces if I thank you for my 2 Nobel Prizes. For your unique ability to insult a woman while honoring her. It's as extraordinary as splitting an atom and giving credit to the man who stood nearby and watched. Thank you for honoring my husband and Henri Bechamel for my work in 1903. Yes, Pierre helped. But Henri, that was demeaning and you knew it. Thank you for making sure that I understood that the only reason I was being recognized was because I was married to a man brave enough to not take credit for his wife's work. My father would have been proud. A teacher, a scientist. He was the first to say I had a mind made for this work. Even though I was a girl, and supposedly that meant I was a waste of his time. I'm sure it brought you great comfort that I was too grief-stricken by his passing to come to Sweden, to look you in the eye, to show you that I knew. But with Vater gone, Pierre gone, and now being awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, the first person, man or woman, to win 2 Nobel Prizes. I couldn't wait to come to Stockholm and accept this award in person. So thank you for finding yet another way of insulting me. By encouraging me to stay home a second time. What did you call it? An inconvenience? Paul Langevin, a married man. Yes, thank you for reminding me that when a woman and a married man have an affair, only the woman is punished. Even so, my personal life has nothing to do with my scientific accomplishments. Here's the thing. I've had to sit and listen to my research presented by male colleagues in rooms where women are not even allowed to speak. I'm tired of not being allowed to own my work. I gave the first lecture at the Sorbonne only because my husband was dead. People lined up not to hear my thoughts, but to see if the little widow would crack before the end of class. They were disappointed. As a woman in a man's profession, I learned long ago to keep emotion out of my voice and out of my face. So if you came here looking for shame, for apology, I'm sorry to inform you, you'll find none. Yes, I'm here. It's time. Good, great. Whew. You're going to be okay, Marie. Your sister is here. Your daughter is here. You are not alone. You are like polonium, like radium, a new element. They don't understand women like you yet, but they will. They're ready for me. I doubt it.
They're out there again. You need to leave. Go now. Disappear before they make good on their threats. Me? If I run, who tells the truth? I have no choice but to stay. Stay and riot. To whom it may concern. Too polite. What I needed to say is stop killing us. Sign the truth. This is my home. And I've sat here and watched 3 of my friends lynched. Their only crime? Some whites couldn't withstand the competition. I saw their bodies. My stomach folded in on itself. So I wrote what no one else would. Exposed it like it was an overstayed potato salad at a church picnic. The next day, I stepped outside and the press building was on fire. Not just a warning, a declaration. They wanted silence, but I saw it for what it was, a war. So this is my sword. You think I don't hear them calling my name like a curse? But I'm not cursed. I am chosen. They say lynched men are criminals. Show me the crime. No one hangs a man for stealing. They hang him for succeeding while black. My hands are shaking, not from being scared or worried or feared. No, it's from the weight of being the first to speak, to shout, to write loud enough that they try to burn my words. But they forgot one thing. You can burn paper, but not the truth. Fine, I'll go to Chicago, not to hide, but to print louder, to speak bolder. They think they're chasing me out? They're just fueling my fire. So go on, light your matches. I lit a fire of my own.
I want to be a dancer. But they say Osage girls don't do that. Badminton do. Slide, point, slide, close. And croy. Front, side, back, side. It's the most basic thing we do. Until it's Balanchine saying, that's all you need to know. Then suddenly, it's not so basic. It's everything. Let me start over. Mary Ellen Morgan. Matinee, evening performance, now late night rehearsal, and she's still electric, graceful, perfect. Her feet were sculpted for this. Her tondus could make marble weep. And me? I've been watching her for weeks, obsessed, honestly. Not just with her dancing, but with how she always just seems to belong. And her discipline. Maria, chin up. Balanchine, the genius, the architect, the ear that listens with his whole body. He sees everything, even me, a half-Indian girl who could pass for Russian. And it might seem foolish, but when he speaks to me, when he corrects me, I want to believe it's because he sees something worth fixing. Maria, you will dance second lead. Second lead? Next to her? Let's see those tondus. Again. Tondu front, execute, repeat. Side, side, observe, compare. Her feet, extension. My feet, embarrassing. Back, back, back again. Why would he choose me? Maria, if you could only master the badminton, you wouldn't have to learn anything else. It's always the tendu, the skill you're supposed to master before you can learn anything else. And suddenly, I'm 10 again in Mr. Belcher's studio. Before that, Miss Sabin, pushing me on point before I had bones strong enough to carry me. Past pain, past limits I didn't know yet how to name. And I said nothing. mother's high hopes, from my own body that never felt enough, from the mirrored walls of a Russian ballet studio. And now, they tell me to change my name, to become Tall Chiba, elegant, acceptable, erased. I am not a shadow of a Russian ballerina. I am not a name rewritten for your comfort. I am not Tall Chiba. I am Maria Tall Chief. And this name, this body, has made it all the way here. Criticism does not break me. It reveals me. And now, when I slide my foot across the floor, I don't do it to be heard. I do it to be seen. I do it to be seen.
We were never the footnotes, never the side notes, never the smudged names on the bottom of the page.
We were the ink, the parchment, the pulse of the pen.
The first breath of the rebellion, the second wind of America.
The spark that remembered how to burn.
Legacy? Then say her name.
All of them.
The ones who signed in secret, who coded their truths in diaries, and who taught it with bare hands.
We are not done.
We are not quiet.
We are not going away. This is not the end.
This is the moment we reload. They told me to say nothing. But last week, I watched a woman with the voice of heaven get turned away because of the color of her skin. Constitution Hall, they said, was inappropriate for her to sing. And I think, if I say nothing, what am I? When I was a child, my mother called me Granny. It hurt deeply. But it taught me something. You cannot let the world decide your worth. You decide it. You live it. Franklin's mother tried to stop our marriage. She said I was too plain, inappropriate, too outspoken. When polio took Franklin's legs, it was my voice he stood on. And when I found myself lonely in that house that bears every man's name but mine, I found Lorena, a journalist, a friend, a woman who loved me and gave me a sapphire that I wore to my husband's inauguration. Was it scandalous? Perhaps. But I had already learned how to survive the scrutiny of men. J. Edgar Hoover had 3,000 pages on me. Not because I was dangerous, because I was loud. Because I didn't stay in the drawing room and pour tea. I went to the protests, the factories, to the colored schools they tried to hide from our view. And I wrote every day to document. I am resigning my position with the Daughters of the American Revolution today. They want to bar Marian Anderson from singing in their hall? Fine. Let her sing at Lincoln Memorial, where justice echoes louder. Some will call me improper, unpatriotic. But I think that patriotism is asking more of your country than silence. And I think First Lady Being First Lady means being first. To act, to speak, to say what needs to be said. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Not because it is easy, because it is necessary.
To be calm. You never know who's watching, who's whispering. Mother chose this awful dress for me when I first arrived. She made it clear, you don't get to choose. I came as Sophie Frederica Augusta. A speck from a speck of a city, across a continent, sent to marry a stranger and secure a future that was not my own. Smile more, she said. Speak only when asked. Show humility, but don't fawn. Mother, so skilled at withholding her love and calling it discipline. So I taught myself. I read. I retreated to the world of books, and I waited, and I impressed. So interesting that her greatest disappointment was chosen to be the girl to wed the heir to Russia. But I was warned. There are ears behind the walls, eyes behind the gates. The whispers have reached Peter now. He knows. Cousin Peter. So pale, so delicate. He avoided my eyes like a boy avoids his lessons. 1 year older, yet it was he who seemed the child. 2 young puppets, chosen to serve and secure great empires. He, grandson to Peter the Great, and I, the unloved girl, chosen to serve beside him. Our wedding night, he opened a wooden box and laid toy soldiers across the bed. He mimicked battles, cannons, war cries. But I had my own war to fight. I returned to my books. To me, Russia was a language to be learned, and I was fluent within months. When I fell ill, they brought a Lutheran minister. No, I said, bring me an Orthodox priest. A priest of the Russian courts, of the Russian people. And that moment changed everything. Russia saw me, took me in their hearts. That was the day I became Catherine. Peter showed no respect. He moved through power like a child with a toy, making whatever reckless choices pleased him. To end our war with Prussia, to give back the land we bled to keep, to disband the army, to mock the throne he was gifted, not earned. It was clear I had not spent all these years in study for nothing. I had made allies. The church, the nobles, the army. He knows they are coming. No, I will not wear that dress. This, because it is they, the soldiers, who will decide. Peter may play his games, but I have earned their loyalty. I will march with them, and Peter will step aside like a child sent to bed. And I will build new cities, hospitals, schools for girls like me from forgotten corners of Europe, so that they may find new worlds of their own. And I will make it law that women may govern, may write, may rise. It is time. They will whisper. They will lie. They will call me tyrant, temptress, whore. Let them. Because I am Catherine, and they will call me great.
They should be ashamed to force a pharaoh to take refuge in her own tomb. They want these treasures, the gold, the jewels. Is that what all this blood was for? I should burn it all. Reduce the spoils. And myself to ash. Octavian seeks glory. Let him inherit dust. Glory. Was I ever so bewitched by power, blinded by its shine? Yes, I had ambition, but it was not for myself. It was for Egypt. I was not born of her blood, but the love and spirit of Egypt has woven itself into my bones. I've known her gods, spoken her language, studied her stars and sciences from within the walls of Alexandria's library. Egypt raised me, and I raised her. My father named me queen because he knew I would fight. And I did. Against my own brother, who thought he could cast me into exile. But I returned. I reclaimed my throne, and I gave my life for this land. I negotiated peace. I forged allies. I watched borders like a mother guards her child. I walked into foreign courts, speaking their tongue and clearing Egypt's name with pride and spirit. But Octavian writes a different story. He paints me as a temptress, a harlot, a distraction. And now he burns my cities and mows down my people. Raya, Charmaine, they stayed. Not just as servants, but sisters. choice. He can take the gold, he can take the throne, but he will never have me. I am no one's spoils of war.
Ships around, and I earned it. When my clan was attacked, I didn't write letters, I launched cannons. Ever heard of Braveheart? Overrated. It's so hard being a warrior when you're a man. But you got the crown and the war cry. I got footnotes. I was lucky. Let's fix that. My father was chief of the nations. We ruled the West Coast waters as if they were our own breath. We traded. We protected. We didn't ask permission. I was born with the sea in my blood and a battle on my tongue. When I was 8, my father said I couldn't sail because of my long hair. So I cut it off. Nothing was going to keep me from doing what I was born to do. I married once, then twice. Each man thought his title would eclipse mine, until the enemies came, and I was the one who led. When they killed my first husband, I led the counterattack. When they took my second love, I stormed the stronghold myself and slayed his murderers. But this was child's play compared to what came next. I sat across from Queen Elizabeth I. England was carving Ireland like a feast. But I faced her, woman to woman, and I did not bow. I got my lands back. I got my brother free from his prison. She spoke Latin. So did I. And I made damn sure she remembered my name. They always thought it should have been my brother, but it was me who earned their loyalty, me who kept the clans alive. I've been erased, mocked, buried beneath every man's story. But I was the one who took the helm. I was the one who fought the wind. I was the one that ruled with no crown but the sea. So when you speak of kings, speak of grace, and speak her name with salt in your mouth.
Where are you, Deb? We both know I've seen your face many times before. You don't frighten me. You followed me since I was a child. Since the day my mother lost her head. The day a princess became the bastard child of a whore. So do your worst, I dare you. Because that lonely, red-headed child, she found other ways to wield strength. When they called womanhood a weakness, I made my mind unassailable. No memory quicker, no resolve stronger. Before I wore the crown, I survived lifetimes in the school of experience, and there I mastered the 4 virtues most fit for a ruler. Justice, temperance, magnanimity, judgment. I do not fear you.
You should fear me. Who goes there? Show yourself. You should know better than to startle the queen, especially a dying one. Oh, do my eyes deceive me? The two least merry Marys in the realm. If you were to be my last conversation, I will call you not by who you were, but what you became. You, known simply as Bloody Mary. The only grace of your legacy was clearing the way for the Queen England truly needed. Your greatest sin? Imprisoning the sister you once called beloved. And yet you visit me now for what? Forgiveness? Don't you dare. I learned early that to show emotion is a privilege reserved only for those without power. So leave me, sister. I've no forgiveness to give. And you, Mary Queen of Scots, I see you lurking in the shadows. We were friends once, confidants through our letters. I warned you to be cautious, but you married your husband's killer. You gave your crown to men who used you. I learned to use men, but never let them bind me. I ruled alone. You had the people's love, but what I treasured was your words. Yet rumors of a conspiracy against me in your name left me no choice. So yes, I signed your death warrant. And yes, I wept. But my crown and England's legacy could not be left hanging by a thread. And in your death, I became unstoppable. They said I had the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I had the heart and the stomach of a king, and not just any king, a king of England. I have survived plots, plagues, wars. I transformed an illegitimate nothing into England's greatest ruler. And yet, I would give my kingdom, every acre, every crown jewel, for just a few more moments, not as England's queen, but just Elizabeth.
Miss Lamar, they need you on set in 2 minutes.
Well, tell them they'll get me in 3, maybe 4. Beauty takes time, and so does revolution. They want the star, the dress, the profile. Now, where were we?
Do you think beauty sleep actually works, or were you just born looking that way?
Is that really a question? Don't you want to ask me something important? Like, is it true you invented a weapon to fight Nazis between takes from your last film? Because I did. Now sit tight, darling. I'll tell you all about it. Wow, proud of sex. They said no to this. Frequency hopping spread spectrum. It was a way to skip between the radio channels so that the Nazis couldn't jam our torpedoes. And they said no, not because it wouldn't work, but because I wore a gown to the meeting. They said, and I quote, "You could do more for the war effort using your beauty." As if that was all I brought to the room. I mean, look at me. Go ahead. They all do it. But what they can't see is that brilliance doesn't wear lipstick. It doesn't sign autographs. Brilliance is just a scratch of graphite at midnight. The calculations that are scribbled on cigarette cartons. And those ideas that won't stop knocking. This was supposed to save lives, but they'd rather save face. So I gave them what they wanted. A smile, a kiss, a showgirl on that war bond stage. Millions raised, darling, millions. And while they were clapping for my cheekbones, I kept the patent. I filed it under frequency hopping, but it was forgotten by the Navy, like a bomb waiting for a detonation.
So they may be clapping for my cheekbones now, but they'll be paying me for the next 100 years. You can't pray me of that, can you? I didn't think so. Now, would you be a doll? And tell them I'm ready for my close-up.
Tomorrow, they vote. 32,000 names. 32,000 women who dared to speak, even though nobody asked them to. And I keep thinking, what if it's not enough? What if they laugh again? I didn't come this far to be laughed at. I came to change the country. And if that makes me unpopular, fine. I've been called worse. Let me ask you something. What are 3 words that describe you? Think about it. Not what you wish, but what others say when your back is turned. I'll go first. Determined, relentless, passionate. They meant it as an insult. I took it as a mission statement. I should have started with an introduction. Kia ora, I'm Kate Shepherd. Yes, like the actress, or Duchess, but I'm not a household name. I'd rather be a household right. Do you ever feel invisible? Not just unseen, but unheard? Like your voice can't make it past the door. I did. And so did half the population. We couldn't vote. We couldn't keep our own children in a divorce. We couldn't own property. We weren't citizens. We were scenery. So I didn't just complain. I did something. I edited the White Ribbon, the first woman-run paper in New Zealand. I wrote pamphlets, heaps of them. My favorite? This one. 10 reasons why the women of New Zealand should vote. Simple, sharp, no fluff. Because it has not yet been proved that the intelligence of women is only equal to that of children, nor that their social status is on par with that of lunatics or convicts. Blunt, I know, but it worked. So did number 6. Because the presence of women at the polling booth would have a refining and purifying effect. Honestly, I just wanted them to stop treating us like smoke needing to be cleared. I hand-delivered that petition to Parliament, unrolled it right there out on the chamber floor. It was taller than a man, heavy too, but that weight belonged to us, to all of us. And tomorrow, they vote. I don't know what they'll decide, but I know what I'll keep doing. Raising my voice, writing the truth, standing in the door until they let us in. I don't need to be a household name. I need to be a household right.
reflection. You get a texture of deafening vibrations with a cylinder you can capture. The space between. I live in this space. Mama always said I saw things other people didn't. And I'd say, Mama, you just need to listen. After the war, they tore up the streets near my primary school. Destroyed the wild dandelions with neat rows of small white rocks. And as each stone fell, I heard it. An apology. Sorry. 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 Mama said, Yoko, the rocks are not speaking. But if they are, they're not speaking to you. They were. You just had to listen. I met John in 1966. He'd already read my art book. An abstract diary of a life in flux entitled Grapefruit. He asked why. John always asked. Mama, brother, and I spent much time at Kuruizawa, the foot of Mount Asama. The volcano had not erupted in over 100 years, but I still asked, are you sure, Mama? Yes. It is safe, Yoko. We are safe. To be extra safe, I asked the dandelions to protect us. And they said, ask the rocks. John was always, how did you? And why did you? And what did you? He asked and asked and asked. I always wanted to fill my pockets with dandelions and white stones. Safety and apology. But they made too much noise. John climbed a ladder at my art show once. At the top, white stones and a magnifying glass. And inside, dandelion. A single word. Yes. We can still hear him. You just need to listen.
One more day until your TED Talk. 47 rewrites. No pressure, right? Okay, here we go. Since the dawn of time, humanity has looked up at the stars. No, too Carl Sagan. Too much cosplay. You're a scientist, Jill Turner. Give them the science. No more notes. Get up there on that stage and tell them why this matters. Why search for extraterrestrial intelligence? People question it. They mock it. Congress turned down funding in 30 seconds. Said it wasn't worth the taxpayers' dollars. But you don't spend your life listening for signals from the stars just to quit. And yes, it's not a hobby, it's my entire life's work. It started on the beach in Florida. A little girl looking up, holding her dad's hand, wondering if someone out there was doing the same thing. And he squeezed it. Proud. At that moment, that curiosity, that connection paved the path. Eventually it became more than wondering. It became belonging with, no, belonging to the universe. Oh, Dad, I wish you were here. You'd help me find the words. Every opportunity is a chance to seize the day, especially the scary ones. Oh, for those of us that have lost someone, you have to believe there is something out there, even if you can't see it. Everything I have studied says there is life out there. But I just can't prove it yet. That belief shaped everything. My research, my college choice. Dad went to Cornell. Cornell it was. But we had no money. Thought a legacy status would get me a scholarship, right? Yeah, if you're a dude. Dad said dream big, so I did. He said hard work will get you anywhere. And it did. I secured a scholarship with Procter & Gamble. Getting in was just the first hurdle. The real shock, day one. First engineering course, 300 students. One woman, me. Professor ignored me. Lab partners doubted me. Campus wasn't built for me. There were no women's restrooms in the engineering department. I had to go outside the building just to pee. But the final blow was when Procter & Gamble found out I planned to get married. Seems a woman can't have a future in science and a husband. They pulled my scholarship. Being a woman in this field has never stopped me. But as a scientist, being asked to prove yourself before any results is exactly why I'm standing up here today. Because at SETI Institute, we do the same thing. We ask you to believe before there's proof. We send signals out there into the unknown, hoping someone will hear us. And as I said, everything I've studied says there is life out there. It's not a hobby. Dad, you were right. The scariest opportunities are worth always seizing. Maybe, just maybe somebody out there is listening back. That's it. Let's send it. Signal complete. Shoot, that was good. I need to go write that down.
genius, rebellion of glory.
You've seen the wounds hidden in corsets, heard the drums of war in laboratories, felt the heat of the fires they started.
We became the flame.
We became the movement.
We became what's next.
Because a story is not history.
Until someone chooses to remember it.
A revolution isn't real.
Until someone chooses to continue it.
And justice isn't justice.
Until everyone is free.
Write the next chapter.
Paint the next project.
Vote the next law.
Name the next girl.
After a woman who wouldn't break.
Do something that they can't ignore.
But a call to action.
What
comes next?
You do.
Picked her out there, didn't you? She's become quite the thespian lately. No. I gotta open up like a